Let me introduce you to Kyle. He's the founder and co-owner of Jack Henry, an award-winning self-care and wellness brand that prioritizes clean and functional products. Launched in 2015 out of Kyle's garage, Jack Henry is now a multi-million-dollar direct-to-consumer business. His self-care products range from hair care to deodorants and fragrances. And on top of running a salon out of California, he's in the process of launching at Nordstrom.
How are you looking at what do you have to do to attack that?
Yeah, full marketing initiatives, full operation and inventory support, being able to fulfill all these POs and get product on the shelf to, okay, we're on the shelf, how are we going to drive traffic and customers to Nordstrom?
This is Fix Your Funnel, a show where we help real brands at key stages in their growth using HubSpot's Loop Marketing Playbook. So what is Loop Marketing? Loop Marketing is a new way to grow, powered by humans and AI working together. There are 4 stages in the loop: express your story and unique point of view, tailor your messaging to your customers' needs, amplify across channels to meet buyers where they are, and evolve your content and strategy in real time. It loops, it learns, and it gets sharper every time you run it. We've got an entire library of Loop Marketing prompts you can use for your own business goals. Follow this playbook to fuel growth you didn't think was possible, using a framework that works for any business. Check them out at the link in the description. I'm a huge fan of Jack Henry's products. They're in my hair right now. And I personally go to their brick and mortar salon in Costa Mesa to get my hair cut. Shout out my barber. I'm headed there to meet Kyle and learn more about what his goals are and figure out which stage of the Loop Marketing Playbook that we should focus on.
Oren, good to see you, man.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Glad to have you back.
At the Natural Product Legends.
You've been supporting us since day one, man.
So you have a products brand, we're inside a salon. I want to get the whole breakdown.
We started with our hair clay here. I wanted a clean, healthy hair product that was safe to use on myself and my family. I was really inspired by the women's category, to be honest. When we started back in 2017, there was not a single clean alternative for men. Only 4 total ingredients. There's organic beeswax, organic coconut MCT oil, bentonite clay, and French lavender oil. That's it. And what started as hair care has branched out to body care, skincare, fragrance.
Also, you have this entire space here, like a literal salon. We're talking about this theory of like the loop marketing, where instead of like a funnel where you funnel customers down, really it like evolves at all time. You're learning from your customers, you're trying to bring that back into marketing. It happens so fast.
I have to give a lot of success to TikTok. That's what really kind of got this off the ground. One of your first videos, I think it got over 1 million views.
This Balance Cologne by Jack Henry has just an awesome unisex scent, completely recyclable packaging. I really like the look.
So it's really cool seeing all these products. This isn't all made in some like big amorphous overseas factory. You guys do it all here in Orange County, right?
Yeah, so we're fully vertical. We have a full warehouse. We have an amazing dedicated team there. I'll show you where it all happens.
Hell yeah, let's do it. All right, we're here where the magic happens. This is the quintessential CEO setup. We got mood boards, we got products. Walk me through what you got going up and going into retail like as we speak.
As we speak, we have Nordstrom coming up, our first nationwide retail partner.
How long has this been in the works?
Oh my God, like no joke, it's been in the works for 4 years. We pitched them when we were little babies and we weren't ready for it, but we had big dreams and aspirations. They're finally ready to bring us on, so we're excited.
Everyone thinks, oh, our work is done. Now we're in retail, but I'm sure there's a whole like marketing thing. What are the things that you're gonna really move the needle for you in this year you wanna nail?
Consistency from a brand side of things, being able to fulfill all these POs and get product on the shelf to, okay, we're on the shelf, how are we gonna drive traffic and customers to Nordstrom? Storytelling, start with content, we need brand awareness, we need to partner with creators in all these areas, Dallas, New York, LA.
We're gonna use some of this Loop Marketing like Evolve toolkit to work on some of this today.
I think the Evolve stage is really where we're going to focus, because Evolve helps you expand your strategy and learn how to measure it along the way. Your goal is to monitor, adapt, and improve in real time. The Evolve stage is basically a live feedback loop. You can simulate campaign outcomes, use AI to predict which consumers and creative are likely to convert, and identify weak spots before you go live. Track engagement signals and conversion as they happen with AI without having to spend a ton of time in the data. Run rapid experiments, you can test and iterate fast, and keep optimizing. The learnings you have can apply to your next loop.
And also start looking at competitors. I know you're probably part of like a new guard going into Nordstrom, I imagine.
Yeah, there's a few new brands that are launching.
There's an Evolve competitive velocity analysis tool where you can actually look at what the other brands are doing. We'll get like recaps of their marketing, how often are they doing it, what are they doing with creators, how much are they doing campaigns. So we can kind of see what happens as you move from that D2C competitive set to that D2C and retail setup.
It specializes in interpreting ad refresh rates, campaign launches, organic posting frequency. For this and all the prompts, all you have to do is select the prompt, enter in all the business information it asks from you, and plug it in any LLM. It's that simple. Prompt will generate a whole analysis. Kyle can use this to show how fast his team is iterating versus the competition, and what concrete actions he can take to improve speed to market, which can give Kyle a major advantage.
I think you have a lot of really interesting angles. We're going to basically take a bunch of the data information we have, we're going to put it inside some of these loop marketing tools, and we're going to dive into attribution, velocity, influence, campaigns, retention, and see what we can build and workshop.
Amazing, man. I'm excited to dive in and learn.
Jack Henry is crushing it, and they have a huge retail opportunity coming up with Nordstrom. But one place they're getting stuck is being able to efficiently and effectively track the performance of their marketing campaigns and results. Without knowing what drives what in your business, you can easily plateau. If Kyle wants to keep up Jack Henry's momentum, tracking performance and conversions is huge.
All right, let's get into it. Influencers seeding the wide world of creators.
Kyle's at a key moment right now. He wants to scale e-commerce and awareness through TikTok Shop, but scaling really comes down to precision.
TikTok has been a beast and a challenge for us, so always trying to do more there, always trying to learn more.
Kyle's big question is, once they get on the shelves at Nordstrom, how do they drive customers there? This points us towards a seeding strategy.
Seeding, you get inbound, what's kind of the flow there? How many posts you feel like you kind of like happen from affiliates every month?
Probably 200 to 300 a month.
That velocity, I think, has the world to grow.
Yes.
Are you sending out kind of one product, or are you sending out like a bundle? What are you doing there?
To date, we've done one product focused on one SKU.
On the surface, it's sending product to creators to generate buzz. But strategically, it's really about customer acquisition. The goal isn't just reach, it's about getting product into the hands of creators that actually convert, whether direct on shop or in his new retail presence.
When scaling up seeding, the biggest factors that you actually need to deal with are going to be how much volume you can get out, and then what the actual post rate is from that volume.
When you layer in data, seeding becomes a feedback loop. You start to see which creators drive purchases, not just views. You can refine your targeting and your understanding of your ideal consumer.
When you talk about volume for influence, I always like to start with customer. They're more likely to post, they're gonna be stoked, they have a brand affinity. TikTok Shop actually makes you money. So that's the one we want to zone in on next. A lot of the best TikTok Shop posts and a lot of the best seeding posts, it's just having that framework for, cool, hey, we have our budget for $400 or $600 or $2,000 or whatever it is for a great asset, and we know we can approach creators with if they make something good, and then we can go run it in the ad account.
And that's the unlock, turning TikTok from a visibility channel into a consistent driver of revenue and understanding lift. What happens on the platform and how does that affect the rest of your business?
When you look at like what content performs, you have how many people can we send mailers to? Then you have how likely are they to post the mailer? That's number two. Then you have the efficacy of the content. Does it get views? Does it convert? Right now, how are you determining who you choose to seed?
Kind of breaking it by demographics and interests.
This maps directly to the first part of Evolve, simulating campaign outcomes. Use AI to predict which customers and creative are likely to convert and identify weak spots before you go live.
And that's a lot that just comes down to the spreadsheet tracking of it. But 3 months, we get out 600,000 mailers, whatever. We actually pick some of those categories and we start to see the post rate number is like significantly better. Then we can kind of double down there. That's just search and discovery. Some of the brands we worked with like are starting to send 5,000 mailers a campaign. Wow. The creator economy numbers are just absolutely staggering. On TikTok, there's platforms like I know Tribe is good for this, but then also Manus has access to the TikTok API. So you can actually go in there and like ask it to find creators that have posted in the last 30 days that are of a certain size, that have mentioned certain names. So that's probably a pretty useful way to get that rolling.
From there, Kyle can monitor real-time performance and apply this to tracking everything from his campaigns for the Nordstrom launch and also any TikTok Shop conversions from ads. Kyle can apply this using a prompt like the Learning Integration Synthesizer. This prompt creates comprehensive learning integration processes that systematically capture insights from campaigns that ensure those learnings are documented and applied to drive continuous marketing improvement. The system gets smarter as you use it.
We've talked about who we want to talk to the volume we need to get to. Now we need to talk about like communication with the retail buyers. What we're going to send to the creators to get them to make good content. Anyone that actually posts, it's like, cool, can we get them in like Discord or WhatsApp or whatever that is? Basically, then you can go to group versus like having to try to continue to manage everything one-on-one.
And one thing to keep in mind, Jack Henry has a small team. So all the tracking and experimentation we're talking about can't be a huge lift. There are plenty of AI tools in the Evolve toolkit to help with this. And I suggested the Marketing Attribution Optimizer. Helps enable data-driven budget allocation, channel optimization, and strategic marketing decisions based on real business impact. Aggregating all of the data we have access to but don't get to spend time on into a place where loop marketing will help do that for you. This is a particularly valuable tool because Kyle's both expanding his direct-to-consumer business but also juggling Amazon and retail. So he has a lot of data and a lot of programs. So making sense of it can help Kyle learn which strategies are actually driving results. And it can be really helpful for Kyle's TikTok Shop pain points so you can invest in content creators that actually drive sales and stop wasting time and budget on what doesn't.
At the stage that you're at in the business, really it's all about growth. You've kind of mastered where you're at, you're editing these new chapters, you have to evolve constantly. I think there's unlimited potential for you inside seeding.
I know it's a lot of work, but the opportunity's here.
All right, ready to workshop some content?
I'm ready to go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I want to walk through the content Kyle's already creating and see how we can find a way to evolve the strategy he already has. Now, content strategy isn't exactly a part of the evolve stage, but since he spends a lot of time creating content for campaigns, it's worth making sure the content strategy is where it should be. So he can then predict more efficiently what will work the best.
All right, content. So I know you got the team at the studio, you got an in-house team, you're in content.
The constant challenge is we never have enough content, right? We need organic, support our socials, UGC influencer, email, SMS.
The way I like to look at content is kind of like, one is basically content TAM, and then the other is kind of like the content like pillars. Like, how do you get a system you can test and improve over time?
TAM means total addressable market. And it's important here because Kyle needs to prioritize resources by identifying which market areas offer the highest potential revenue.
So the TAM comes down to like formats, right? Where some people will watch a video of someone talking. Some people really only scroll carousels.
Yeah, we do some carousel stuff. A lot of like BTS stuff footage. So like in-house production, making the product, me talking about like product conception and development, and taking our customers along that journey.
And the stylist content, is that typically like how-to?
How-to, hands-on, full haircut, tutorials, before and after haircuts.
You guys have enough content and stuff like going out, you have all these different approaches. So really it's a matter of like, how do you get incremental, measurable improvement in a way that doesn't drive you insane?
And since he's doing most of this content on his own, it's worth acknowledging which formats lead to the highest conversion rates.
So basically each of these is a pillar. If you looked at the monthly data for the carousels and you look at basically the reach, saves, shares, etc. And then obviously with video content, you also get the hook rate. That's the biggest one to look at. And then you say, okay, this month versus last month, is our hook rate better, or our saves and shares better, or is it worse? It's basically a really simple framework where it's like hook, value, and production.
From there, it's all about rapid experimentation, trying different assortments, different creators, different messaging, seeing what sticks. You can check the metrics on your content and the buckets that they fall into month over month to find out where you're falling short.
And so every time you look at one of these and you say, okay, this month, is this up or down? If it's going up, it's like, how do we keep improving? We can stay on the same route. If it's kind of going down, you go, what can we change here? Like, where do we improve the hooks? And there's obviously a number of ways, whether that's with using animation or graphics, or it's like saves and shares is falling. It's like, okay, how do we increase the value? And then production is not like, oh, we need to go use nicer cameras, but it's like, okay, can we switch up the scenery? Can we change some of the look and feel?
That makes a lot of sense.
By focusing each month on improving each pillar, you can measure it, make it change, and adapt based on what the data tells you.
All right, so I know we've covered a ton here. We've talked through all the different evolved loop marketing items. We've actually broken down much of these frameworks. What 2 or 3 things that you can actually bring into the business now?
Partnering with creatives and getting our products out there.
I talked to Kyle about the importance of seeding, because creator content is a huge part of modern marketing. If you're sending products out and not seeing results, something needs to change. Increasing volume is part one, but post rate is where you'll actually see results. He was getting about 200 to 300 posts a month from affiliates, which shows he has a lot of potential for that velocity to increase. Once Kyle identifies the creators and customers to send mailers to, he can use the Evolve toolkit to monitor real-time performance, find out if these mailers are converting into qualified leads and what messages work best.
So I think TikTok Shop, I know there's a lot of opportunity there. The days of paid influencers, 20 or 30 grand a post are over.
We also talked about customer conversions through TikTok Shop, because that's where the money is, and Kyle isn't quite utilizing that tool enough.
When I call out customers, you probably have gems hiding inside your base, and that will plug right into what you're doing with TikTok Shop and content too.
Customer mining and seeding is important here too. And again, this is where the Evolve toolkit is really effective, because you can simulate campaign outcomes to predict which customers and creatives are likely to convert and identify weak spots before you go live. Another thing Kyle could do is the customer journey drop-off diagnostics. The report reveals where you're losing consumers along the funnel and how to fix those gaps.
And then really just, I think, building and getting together on the content framework and pillars. I keep going back to consistency and just bandwidth, trying to find that bandwidth and have enough resources to be able to produce all this.
This is the challenge that small businesses face. He has an idea of what his audience wants to see, and he has videos that have worked. And the real problem is bandwidth. So I hope you hire some internal staff to help with the workload.
Yeah, look, I'm super excited for your launch side of Nordstrom. I appreciate you working through all the loop marketing with us, here today, and stoked to see what happens next.
Thanks for running me through it, dude. I'm excited to debrief the team on this and get to work.
Oh yeah, stoked for you.
It's gonna be awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Between product R&D, running the studio, creating and shooting content, and preparing for a huge launch they've worked on for years, it's a lot to cover alone. This is why it's easy for things to fall through the cracks. Kyle's a great business with Jack Henry. Now that we've talked through customer volume and seeding and some additional content strategies, I'm hoping you'll take what we discussed and use the Evolve framework to strategically prepare him for this huge Nordstrom launch and what happens after. It's all about monitoring the data that he has now and using the results to adapt and improve in real time. When we touch base next, I'll find out what he tweaked, see what improved, and hopefully hear some great results.
Kyle, what's going on, man? How is life in the wellness industry?
Yeah, it's so good to see you, Oren. Things are good, man. We can't complain.
I just want to check in on where it's at. What's happening with the Nordstrom launch? How's that looking?
A lot of things are happening, and I think there's been an amazing shift, particularly in the men's section and category in terms of men's grooming. And we've been really fortunate to be in Air One. And I think Air One is really it's set us up and give us the credibility now for other retailers and beyond. So we'll be launching with Nordstrom in the next 2 to 3 weeks across 26 locations. The official PO just hit last Friday. All the hard work is still ahead of us, but we couldn't be more excited here.
This means Kyle and his team have a lot to monitor and track this year, making sure their marketing strategies are helping them reach those benchmarks for in-person retail, and their online presence is driving current and new customers to those brick and mortar locations.
And then I know we had talked a lot about TikTok Shop, scaling up affiliates, gifting, etc. How the team made any progress there?
Yeah, TikTok Shop, we've got some software integrated, which is great. Helps with outreach, helps with kind of concepting in the flow and the communication, and also really designing like value add assortments and mailers for them that are custom. That's been a full team effort, back and forth with the manufacturer in terms of packaging, samples, and design.
Sick. I know that a lot of what we talked about when we were there in terms of like the mailers and gifting just takes time to bring to a reality, but it's awesome that you guys are seeding more, getting ready for this launch.
What Kyle's doing on TikTok Shop is moving beyond operational efficiency into conversion-focused strategy. They're adding value-add assortments to the mailers and bringing in software to streamline communication. This is a really smart shift. Kyle isn't just sending out products and hoping for the best anymore. He's thinking about who is most likely to post, and more importantly, who's going to convert. Every time they learn something, they apply it to the next loop. So over time, they're not just sending more products, they're getting smarter about who they send to and what actually drives revenue.
Now with the retail and everything, are you guys reforecasting? What's kind of happening on the logistics side of the business around all these changes?
About 60 days ago, we completely reforecasted the entire year. The Nordstrom PO come in, we were planning and anticipating for that. But now we have to plan in, Nordstrom's reorder points and quarterly planning. And then, we're already looking at holiday kit sets with Nordstrom and what that assortment's going to be like for November and December. So this has kind of forced us to get a little ahead of the game and, play some offense rather than defense.
Here's where the Evolve framework really shows up. Kyle says they reforecasted their whole year. They were overshooting their projections, then the Nordstrom PO came, and now they have to plan quarterly.
Got all these new channels, to your point, like how do you do it all?
I'm happy to say we just find a social media manager. That person puts a lot of structure, accountability, delivering like the best experience in building our community. Lots of concepts, lots of ideas. It's going to be really fun to bring it to life.
Well, definitely text me when that person starts. We obviously got the whole loop brainstorm to get them into gear.
Kyle's biggest pain point is how do they do that all consistently, especially when so much relies on him. So hiring a social manager becomes not just about getting content out the door, but unlocking the whole loop. The marketing attribution optimizer tool can be an additional prompt for Kyle and his team to fall back on as they scale.
Excited to see what you actually launch with in Nordstrom, see what the creative looks like, see how everything keeps going. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Absolutely, man.
When we met Kyle, he was deep in the weeds on his Nordstrom launch, not sure where to focus his current marketing efforts. I walked him through the loop framework using the Evolve stage to really build on the strong foundation he's already built, digging into those key strategic pain points to analyze and optimize his business and marketing strategies. We can test and refine, and from there, apply what he learned. So what do we hit at each stage of Evolve? For simulating campaign outcomes, we used AI to predict which customers and creatives are most likely to convert and identify weak spots before going live. We monitored real-time performance. Kyle started tracking engagement and conversion signals as they happen with AI. Ran rapid experiments to be able to test, iterate, and refine faster, and keep them optimizing. All of the stuff can be applied to the next loop. Going forward, I'd suggest Kyle check out the campaign performance diagnostic. This prompt analyzes campaign performance data to identify success patterns, diagnose failure causes, and create optimization recommendations to systematically improve your marketing and ROI. Now that he's worked through the Evolve stage, Kyle can always see what the other stages, express, tailor, and amplify, can do for him. Because that's what loop marketing does. It works for a business at any stage, it loops, and it gets sharper every time you use it. Grab the prompts in the description, run them for your own business, and see what loop marketing can do for you.